Hyped.
Hyped.
And with that, hello everybody.
Hello. Nathan, why?
It's happened to me so many times on all of our non-Reckless Attack episodes. Free plug for our Patreon right here. Go listen to all the times that we have been abruptly started upon.
Yeah, that's true.
And what show are we abruptly starting? Why, it's Reckless Attack, everybody. Hi, I'm GM Nathan, and this is a podcast. In fact, it's a good show. It's a 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons actual play podcast, in fact. And once again, as always, I am surrounded by the very excellent players here of Reckless Attack Studios. We'll give them the little extra official business name sauce.
There you go.
Starting with the individual on my left.
It's never me.
Got him!
Yeah. Sophie, get hyped. Hyped.
I'm hyped. My hype song is disagreeable to Nathan. Patrons maybe will tell you about it later. Hi, everyone. I'm Sophie. I play Valeska Carter, the human asterisk cleric of the Arcana domain. And, oh boy, let's get to it.
Let's get to it.
To my left.
Hi, everyone. I'm Jonathan, and I play Checkers, the Grung Druid, and his trusty frog pal, Mango. Sad.
Oh.
But Checkers is otherwise hyped to be here, having a good time, chilling out at the city of Agmar. He's got his new best friend, the Obelisk. And
I don't know that fits in your stack very well.
Yeah, he and the Obelisk have spent a lot of quality time together.
I'm sure that is raising no alarm bells to anyone involved in that very secret project.
Nope.
Well, I like how you refer to them as Obby.
Yeah. And to my left.
Hi, everyone. I'm David, and I play Kaskrin, the Dwarven Sorcerer. And I will say...
Just retch again?
Just like
Sophie had the... Yeah, right.
I was with you.
Yeah, I was like, confidence. Just like, just go, just do it. And it was okay.
It worked until my brain had time to, like, it didn't immediately, like, flag, and then I processed it, and I was like, no.
And I will say, I remember when we started this podcast, I was like blown away that we had gotten to episode 30, and today is now episode 130.
We did
That is true.
quadruple the number of episodes, and then another 10 episodes after that.
That is true. So yeah, pretty happy with that. Let's go, guys. But also to my left.
Hi, everyone. My name is Steve, and I, once again, am playing Sylv Asterlin, the Dragonborn monk, who, along with the other 3 players at the table, may or may not have increased in level.
Is this another way that you're plugging our Patreon? Because if so,
yes, yeah,
I love it, Steve.
And I was,
Keep
as
it
I was
coming.
about to say, if you would like to hear all about it, you can come over to the Patreon and take a listen there to our level up to 9.
Level 9 babies. Look at you guys.
Just all babies.
Almost double digits now.
I remember specifically designing Kaskrin to work very well at level 9 about 4 years ago.
Yeah, right.
And now we're finally here.
Yep. And
now he can finally work as a
and
character.
how many
And-
times
and
have you redone your class?
Yeah, and now it's a completely different character. Yeah.
Probably 3 by now. But the original version, God, it would be amazing right now.
Well, if you ever want to switch back, we can have a whole extra like retraining.
Yeah,
montage.
yeah.
Actually, we don't even need to do that. Just have like a alternate universe type of.
I'm just going to delete that
adventure.
episode and it's going to be fine.
It's, you know what? It's a good thing that you guys are level 9 because you found out some troubling portents, I guess is maybe the word that I can use. You guys got a dream. No big deal, right? You get you're adventurers. This is a fantasy world. And through said dreams, you were given just the inklings of clues of where to look next for answers. Through some poking around, you have maybe sussed out 3 locations of interest. We'll start with the nicest option, Agmar. There's something to do with Agmar. Great, check. That's great news.
We can just stop there too. That's fine. We can like that.
You're already
Okay.
here. Well done.
Yeah, we did it.
And then there's 2 more. next worst, because one you've already been to, which is the Deadlands, the place where no magic or life seems to exist, where many scholars, researchers, adventurers, etc. have tried to explore and have never been heard from again, and the location where at least one of the sons of Brixia fell and presumably unleashed the Ultra Giants. And then the worst news, probably, is through the helpful guidance of the desiccated skull of a giant dragon, you found out that there may be answers near the Shattered Abyss. We haven't really talked all that much about the Shattered Abyss on this podcast. It's been on our various maps for keen listeners who are interested in such things. But on the map, it's just beyond a big mesa, the mesa where the people of Agmar took shelter during the Ultra Giants, to refuge, as it was known. And on the map, at least, it's just depicted as a huge pile of rocks and mountains with a big cave entrance. Not too much is known about it, other than it is so infested with some of the strangest, nastiest, most alien, and most murderous monsters that, as I said last episode, stop me if you've heard it before, all who enter never return. So, you have direction.
Yay.
So where'd all that hype go, guys? We haven't started so good.
Lupe Fiasco, what up?
Pause the episode. Let's refresh with some dance music. We'll hop back in. And so, we pick up, we'll just say an indeterminate amount of time after that bombshell has dropped. You've had a little bit of time to kind of process it, probably start the gears turning of learning more about, hey, so like, what horrors may or may not await us at either of these locations. And, thinking about things like, so like, how are we going to get there again? Because walking's like a lot also. And I'd imagine the gravity has hit ever so slightly.
And I'm just thinking too, like, we've got an Ultra Giant essentially right on our doorstep. We don't have the time to go walk to the Deadlands, walk to the Shattered Abyss, and actually be back in time to even do something about this.
That's probably true.
And we also, so we have possible teleportation option, except that the magic, nothing really works. Everything's dead in the desert, and none of us have ever been to any of these places to know to be able to teleport there.
And teleportation is pretty wonky right now in this era of Rixian history, where there were periods where it's like, there's those magic circles everywhere, and there's like an infrastructure, a highway of teleportation circles, some of which are still the fundamental cornerstone of important world-building things like the postal service.
It's true.
But not really as safe for just kind of like shunting mortals through.
Also, to the west of where we are is the Ultra Giant, just kind of like brooding over there, like a giant mountain. So it's like going in that direction to Deepwood is tricky.
Yeah, technically the Ultra Giant is closer to you all than either of the other locations. I'm going to say that the four of you are out in the city today. I believe we've established it's kind of late summer and maybe turning into fall a little bit now here in the city of Agmar. So the leaves are starting to turn, get a little crunchy. There's a little bit of briskness. Whatever outer jacket layer that you may include in your normal adventuring gear, maybe you're thinking about popping it out. You haven't officially committed yet, but it's possible. I'm going to ask a random question. What errand are the four of you running together in the main kind of library plaza area? Kind of that like front entrance to the city. What has brought you to the front entrance of the city here today?
I want to say that we're seeing the Verdant Wave off.
They already left.
No.
They're gone. Good riddance.
Well, yes. So we'll say that today is the day
Yes.
that your rival adventuring guild, well, or your
Those
frenemies,
punks.
it's
Yeah.
complicated. It's case by case, etc.
Frenemies.
Yeah, the Verdant Wave are preparing to leave today. So at this, I guess, farewell breakfast, this farewell gathering early in the day here. I mean, you know the Verdant Wave. I'm sure they wanted to really, get on the road nice and early, but wanted to, say their kind of last goodbyes. It's some weird, obscure Agmar tradition that everyone has to have a goodbye breakfast. I guess all the guilds. It's in the bylaws, and quite a few people are there. It is pretty decently attended, and you all can individually feel how you want to feel about that or intuit it accordingly. But it's a solid turnout.
Val's vibe checking every guest of like, do you actually care?
Do you want to be
or
here?
are you here because like
There's free
you're part of the
food.
city council?
Yeah.
Right.
There's
Are you here out of concern or fear?
Yeah, right, exactly, or what have yous. But the vibes, I guess I will say, for those who have high passive vibe checks, are surprisingly decent. There are people who are earnestly going up to some of them and thanking them for things, asking them what they're doing next, saying that they're sorry to see them go, that sort of thing. And there is really a little bit of connection between the Verdant Wave and the Agmar community, or at least the ones who showed up for, I don't know, free waffle bar or whatever that is going on. So without, I guess, role-playing the entirety of a brunch party, we'll save that for another episode. Don't worry, listeners, we'll get that checked off. Today, this moment is the last time, as far as your characters know, that you guys might see the Verdant Wave. You know how dangerous it is out there. You know how dangerous their mission, which, as a reminder, they have basically said that they're going to go out into the wilderness and see what they can do about, maybe not the Ultra Giant specifically, but everything going on. Find ways to help. There's a good chance they might not be back. They might not be back for a long time. They might not all be back. Who knows? So, if we would, just take a moment, amidst all of this, participatory kind of good timing, what's a moment that happens? It can be with your character, with the Verdant Wave. It can be whatever kind of you think is important to pull out of the ether to encapsulate these moments.
Val will go up to Barzug. One, because, let's be real, Barzug is probably not, like, doing a lot of glad-handing, mingling with everybody. She is about that waffle bar, and no one's really talking to her at this moment.
It's because her mouth is full of waffles.
Yeah.
It's pretty prohibitive.
But also, like, Val does respect Barzug. It's pretty fucking cool,
Absolutely.
So-
Yes.
And Val will go up and just say, hey, I don't need you to talk back. I understand you're getting those waffles in.
yeah.
Definitely eat them while you can.
She says, just like whipped cream drops out of her mouth. It's pretty terrible.
I understand you're going to the wilderness, so I wanted to help prep you. Here are a couple summary journals of everything we know about the wilderness. Importantly, I have included in the first page a recipe for granola. I know it doesn't sound great. It's like a granola trail mix kind of vibe, but one that the native plants around this area can be used to make. I've included a crate of samples, so you can try it out. If you don't like it, there are variations on the next 2 pages.
Eventually, she hammers down the rest of whatever waffle and fruit topping that she was enjoying. And she's like, oh, that's really, really nice. And she, kind of hesitates for a moment.
I put it all in a crate. You don't have to pick the crate up now. I understand your hands are full of waffle.
No, I got it. And she just somehow, flexes all of the muscles on her arm and, holds an entire crate while holding multiple plates of waffles as if it is just nothing.
Yeah.
And so-
Val is very impressed.
Well, thank you. Yeah, that's really nice. I'll be sure to give that to probably Trenkar. Yeah, he reads the most.
Yeah.
One of the others who can read. I think will really appreciate this. I mean, that's.
I mean,
wow.
I figured you're the one who's gonna know the most about if the granola tastes the best and has the nutritional value you need. So I wanted to make sure, it met your macros.
She looks at you, and her eyes soften, and she puts down the box. She puts down one of the waffles.
Val's nervous.
And she reaches into the box. She grabs one of the jars of granola and looks at you and looks down at the waffle and sprinkles some on just the daintiest little bit.
Val starts nodding now Val's excited.
Takes a huge bite, turns back to you, and then gives you a hug
Oh gosh.
that may or may not get syrup on your back.
Absolutely, 100% does.
Barzug approved.
Ha. Val won. She's won over one person of the friend. They will be her friends.
So, it's a delightful brunch. People are having a good time. People are bringing gifts. And some people specifically are bringing gifts to Kavos. And what does Kavos love more than anything else in the world but hot sauce?
Of course.
I was going to say himself.
I mean, yes. And I feel like Kavos in a weird, sadistic, sort of community building has decided to grab 4 individuals from the crowd and do this kind of Hot Ones panel interview where he is asking the questions and making other people, he's taking swigs of hot sauce and then making other people do swigs of hot sauce and then asking them questions.
I'm going to do you one better.
Okay.
That's how it started.
Yeah.
But he has now forced someone else to ask the questions.
Okay, yeah.
And he is now a panelist on this. And I'm going to say, can Kaskrin have been roped into this? As the
host?
interviewer?
Okay, yeah. Castrin can be the interviewer because I'm also imagining Kavos is there having the time of his life. He's
bragging.
just taking him back, no problem. There is Paulus Calvetta, the brother of Vina Calvetta, also there, who's just doesn't want to be here at all. Is entirely here out of obligation.
Absolutely.
And is now red in the face, sweating.
Very unhappy.
Has the sweat marks on his pits and his neck and everything. There is the librarian spider.
Andromeda?
Yeah, there's Andromeda also there. Also totally fine because she doesn't she can't taste.
There are no spice sensors.
There's no spice sensors.
Yep, 100%.
And then I want to say there's checkers. At the end, just completely purple. Yeah. And Kaskrin's just also taking some of these swigs of hot sauce, asking them questions, and it's generally just a great time as Kavos is just merry and people are suffering around him.
Which is best case scenario,
Yeah.
obviously.
So, at another point during this, while Selv is consuming some waffles, Trenkar approaches. And there's just kind of a small nod of acknowledgement. And then Selv says,
Keep your head down while you're out there. And if you run into trouble, you can send up your usual signal. Enormous fireball. If I see it, I'll be sure to head your way.
His eyes glisten a little, and I imagine, truth be told, Trenkar probably has some kind of soupy eyes, where there's always a little bit of moisture. But this is different. And he just looks at you and puts one of his huge claws on your shoulder and says, "Goodbye, my friend. May your journey be at your own pace, and your shell ever guard you." And he slowly but with more force than should be accessible to a sorcerer, pulls you in for a hug.
Good luck, and I hope you don't need it.
For Checkers, it wouldn't necessarily be at the party, but it would be
Sure.
after the Verdant Wave has, left Agmar and already found themselves on the road. They would find that Checkers has actually slipped a little something into each of their packs. And when they maybe make their camp for the night and, start thinking about all that time they spent in Agmar, they would find that Checkers has made a little picture book for each of them. And it details their adventures in Agmar all the way back to when they helped us out with that grung battle in the forest, when they helped us fight the Mothman, also including different stories that Giannis and Kavos and Barzug and Trenkar may have told the Golden Tree about their adventures. And the final page is a classic Verdant Wave and Golden Tree all holding hands.
Sure.
With a bright yellow sun in the background.
A rainbow.
Trees, the red city of Agmar in the background. And it's just the picture-perfect scene of all of us drawn in crayon as an end to this picture book.
A final scene over the course of this celebratory farewell brunch. Yanis Varga comes up to each of you. And to each of you, he offers a handshake, given with his kind of usual upright, prim posture and formality, and says, I genuinely wish you all the best of luck. Good hunting. Eventually, as all brunches do, things wind down. Wagons are packed, packs are grabbed, weapons stowed, and the Verdant Wave loads up and rolls out of the red city of Agmar. And the people hang around for a few, catch up with some people who they didn't get to speak to, who, are meeting up for plans later, talking about their days. When a commotion starts to kick up from the gates, from the front door of Agmar. Soon, you guys see a bedraggled parade of travelers. The state of their bedraggledness is pretty intense. A lot of them are in rags. All of them are some amount of dirty. They look dehydrated, malnourished, not well, certainly from their travels. Very quickly, guards, various aid workers, that sort of thing, are kind of rushing up to talk to them, to start offering what they can. And you hear a familiar voice cry out, I want to talk to Vina right now. Where is Vina? It is I know, it's them. No, it's them again. It's them. You hear the slightly high-pitched and frantic but stalwart voice of Ravenmount Juniper.
Hey.
Yelling at a member of the Red Guard. We'll say yelling at Namgar,
Yeah.
who is at the front and is trying to quietly placate
Wait,
the
can it be
Ravenmount.
Jack Brill?
Absolutely.
Okay, great.
Jack Brill, who is eye to eye with the
Yeah.
halfling, is trying to just kind of put his little paws out and calm him down, as Juniper is frothing at the mouth, just yelling at this hedgehog guard.
Wait. Juniper, what are you talking about? What's got you so riled up?
Oh, okay.
They're back?
Yeah, over here. Guys, Jack, listen. The Whalers are back. And if we want to keep people safe, we have to start with them. We have to get them out of here.
Juniper, wait. Who are you talking about?
The Sky Stalker.
It's back? The Sky Stalker's back? Jennifer, why didn't you tell me?
Sorry, Checkers, so you know about the Sky Ship.
Yeah, of course I do. It's a sky ship.
I remember we saw a sky ship.
Wait, what?
It was on the way to Deepwood,
Yeah.
yes, with the some
Fortunate.
kind of lightning monster and sky whales, and the ship was around.
Wait, whalers in that they're hunting sky whalers?
And more, yes. The people, the refugees, they reported that the Sky Stalker stole a bunch of their supplies while they were on their way here. They were on the Runic Road, and somehow they got in and out, took their stuff, and look at them. Jack, we have to do something.
Wait, Checkers, you knew where they were this whole time and you didn't tell us?
I mean, I've been tracking them for a while.
You've what?
They disappeared a while ago. I mean, there was nothing I could do about it. We were so busy, you know.
You knew that there were people poaching sky whales and you didn't think I could find something to do about it?
We were busy. We were in a game show.
There's been a significant time between then and now.
Okay, so, Juniper, importantly, you said you saw them? Are they around here?
The refugees saw them. They saw them a few days out, but I'm sure they're still in the area.
If we could help with this, and we could use their ship, that would solve our transport problems.
We need to save the whales.
We need to get that ship.
We need to get those supplies.
Juniper pushes past Jack, who has said exactly no words
Yeah.
so far. At least not allowed to you all. He's like, wait, so you got, okay, so you? Well, he kind of turns away from Checkers a little bit. So the three of you are interested in...
We have to protect the whales.
Okay.
I have never wanted physical violence against many things, but now I'm feeling it. We gotta stop.
Is this what Battle Us
Yeah.
level 9 brings me? I don't know. Okay. Hey, Jack. 1 second. We'll be back. You take care of everyone over there. And Jack's just shrugs and just what? Okay, guys. So I don't want to use the word hunting because that implies.
I think that implies the right implication.
Maybe.
I'm here with it.
It's a placeholder word. I have been hunting the Sky Stalker for years. We've tried to stop them many times, and they just learned to not come by Deepwood, which was great. We know that they smuggle. We think that they might be doing some sort of maybe trafficking, something else. We have a lot of theories about what they do.
Juniper, you do not need to continue convincing us. I am on board. Add me to your hunting party.
Checkers has already swapped out his ship's pirate hat for a sky pirate hat.
Ah, yes.
In preparation.
The two different ones. Yes, which we'll get into.
Functionally identical, but very important to Checkers.
Val looks around at Cass and Self why are you guys not matter about this?
I assure you I am quite angry about this. The inner burning of fury is only tempered by the outer coating of, well, me.
Val knows enough. Self, cut the bullshit. I know your sarcasm now.
So, Juniper, where do we get started?
Come with me. Let's walk. Be cool, though. Be cool.
Taskrin forgets how to walk immediately and does the whole left leg, left arm walk.
And Selv just starts doing the John Travolta strut from Saturday Night Fever.
Too cool, not cool enough. I want to help, but I have obligations. And I know that, and that is the good thing to do is to remember I have a job, which is to stay around Agmar. So I will respect that. I know that in this valley that we're located in, and you guys would know Agmar is kind of between two big mountain ranges, essentially. This is where sky whales like to be, and therefore where the ship is probably going to be. These people were traveling from the southeast but they were on the Runic Road. So that was at least where they were last spotted.
So they're at least maybe a couple days out.
At least last they spotted, but that thing, it moves pretty fast when it wants to, so I'll ask around. I'm going to ask the other Raven Mounts to see if they've seen anything recently. Keep them kind of aware.
I'll
Okay.
go reference my notes on sky whales. Their migration pattern this time of year should keep them in this valley, but I know there's some pods that go a little bit further out.
Right, yes, exactly. But yeah, anything that you guys can do to help narrow the search, I probably don't need to tell you guys. It's a mess outside the walls.
Mm-hmm.
So the less wandering, the probably the better.
Cass, Checkers, do you know how to sail a ship / fly a ship?
That's kind of funny. I was about to ask you, Val, that same question.
I mean, I did some research on sky ships because of the
Library.
engine room obstacle course, but
Checkers just goes, Val, I thought you'd never ask. As Checkers just tips his hat towards you.
His jaunty sky pirate.
His jaunty sky pirate hat, yes.
I'm gonna need to see some credentials.
And Checkers pulls out a little paper badge with a crayon drawing on it.
I'm glad you asked.
Yeah, has had this forever.
Skyship captain.
Yeah, official skyship captain
Yeah.
scribbled on top.
And now, a word from our sponsor.
Hello, this is your pilot speaking. I would like to welcome you to Reckless Airlines. Our total flight time for this episode is approximately 1 hour, and we will be cruising at an altitude of 2,000 frog stacks. In a little bit, the flight attendants will be by with complimentary clips and excerpts from previous Reckless Attack episodes. We know you have a lot of choices when it comes to 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons actual play podcasts, and we would like to thank you for choosing ours. If you enjoyed your experience during today's episode, please be sure to fill out the in-flight survey and leave us a rating or review, or tell a friend. Book your next flight with us at www.recklessattack.com, and thank you for listening.
So here's what we're going to do, everybody. We're going to do the miniest of skill challenges. Spoiler alert, because I like playing the game of Dungeons & Dragons, you'll be pointed in the right direction. You could even catastrophically fail what's about to happen, and you'll be pointed generally in the right direction. It'll just be kind of a question of how long it takes, but kind of more importantly, have some ramifications of what happens next, so to speak. I'm going to ask each of you for one single thing that you do to try to surmise where you should start looking, any information that you want to find about airships. I don't remember if we've talked about it recently, but airships were stuff from centuries and centuries ago, from actually just before the Pentarchy. There was a lot more kind of clockwork, machination-y kind of things in existence that were slowly destroyed basically by the Pentarchy to ensure that they could have total control over all things. So the fact that this exists at all is incredible, let alone that it's here and apparently working.
Val will go to her notes and the books on sky whales that she has, because reminder, listeners, she sleeps with a giant sky whale plushie. She is canonically a giant fan of sky whales.
Yes.
Indeed, on the character sheet. Okay, so we could do like a history roll.
I was thinking history for like kind of, because I am assuming like there are like birders, but for sky whales.
Or just like that is how people treat regular whales. Is like, oh yes, it is that particular sky whale, and they've been moving here, and absolutely, it's probably especially pre-Ultra Giants. There's a lot of kind of scholarly work on it, but yeah, absolutely, there's a lot of resources.
I'm sure there's like,
it's hard to like walk
Well,
around
more
in
from,
nature to
like-
spot them, you know?
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
But either way, I think there would still be a lot to glean. I would also say nature would also totally work.
for Val, we're gonna go history.
Yeah, that's what I figured.
15.
Hey,
I was about to say, I'm going to call this a DC 15 check, just because you don't really have a lot to work on, right? You guys it's more about narrowing down the scope. So you're looking specifically for like where the peak areas might be for where sky whales might be.
Yeah, like where around Agmar or kind of where around the Runic Road the refugees saw the skyship kind of crosses with the historical migration patterns of sky whales.
I'd say for the most part, they are either straight north of you guys, kind of in that valley I described, or are indeed east of you guys, kind of in the direction that
Where the sky whales on the map
where
are.
the sky whale on the map is, indeed. So we'll call that one success. Who's next?
So I actually am going to set up a little bit of a scene here in that I want to fill in some details that Checkers has been up to throughout this whole Agmar preparedness montage.
Yes, of course. Since you were kind of given the responsibility of an infiltrator, approved
Yes.
infiltrator of
Yes.
Agmar.
So Checkers has been working on the Frog Squad for a while now, and he's built up a pretty sizable group of children, of individuals.
I'm glad you didn't call them like child soldiers
No.
or child agents.
No, I mean
child
they,
labor
they,
force.
they work in and around the city, and they often go out in caravans as well, just to keep an eye on things, and also learn some valuable skills, that sort of stuff.
These small roving gangs of
Yeah,
children.
right, exactly, all throughout the world, throughout Agmar. Yeah.
Just
been, like,
casually dropping
Yeah.
across the world,
Yeah,
whatever.
right. And I also want to say that the official headquarters of the Frog Squad is a favor that he asked Vina Calvetta for as part of him agreeing to be Agmar's official quote-unquote infiltrator. In that he asked her to provide the Frog Squad the building that the Verdant Wave just left. So as Yanis Varga, as Trankar, as Barzug, and as Kavos Pylighter packed up their things and got ready to leave their incredibly polished guild hall, Checkers is just up there on the roof with a wooden sign that says Frog Squad, and he's just nailing it in place on top of their guild symbol. And he's got all these little kids with their little sacks just ready to move in as soon as they leave.
I can't express to you how many world building details just
Yes.
went into my brain about like, all right, so if I'm yes-anding this, what are the implications of this? Oh, the Verdant Wave, not as developed of a guild as the Golden Tree, where there isn't kind of an HQ that would be sending additional Verdant Wave people here. So it can be maybe temporarily taken back over by the city, annexed for future use for the Frog Squad. So therefore, blah, 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 zoning requirements, etc., etc. Point is, go on.
Yes.
I love that was the world building. I'm like, wait, these children canonically have parents.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
but
guardians.
It's an after-school program.
It is, yeah. The Frog Squad is kind of a boys and girls club, but
Yeah.
for crime and mischief.
Yeah, haven't you ever
again.
seen Breakin' 2 Electric Boogaloo? It's like their place,
Yeah.
The kids go there, they dance.
Or Home Alone.
Yeah, yeah, it's to learn how to home alone.
And the Red Guard has seen an uptick. Have they seen an uptick in crime or a decrease in crime since the Frog Squad has been
it
here?
levels out.
It all averages out.
different crimes.
Checkers is too busy teaching the children to crime.
Yeah.
That they even each other out.
That's
Given
true.
a period of 100 years, this is just a blip in
Yeah.
the increase in crime.
But the point is, Checkers is utilizing the Frog Squad to learn a bit more about these different caravans that have come in, come out, and have potentially encountered the Sky Stalker.
Ooh, okay, cool.
What an elaborate setup.
Yeah. I don't know what to use for that.
Okay,
Animal handling? Are
city
children
urchin.
animals?
In investigation.
So I want to propose something slightly different.
Yeah.
I'm imagining this as Checkers is collecting information from the children as they've been wandering around and being part of these caravans. And he's kind of piecing this web of information in his head of, oh, these caravans were here and they saw this and all of this stuff. And I'm imagining it as more of like a survival-based thing.
Ooh, okay, yeah, I dig that.
Where he's learning about the different, patterns of the caravans and what they've seen.
Yeah, you are applying knowledge that you have already gathered,
Right.
and that is you kind of doing the math in your head of where things are. I love that.
So I'm going to roll survival.
Perfect.
That's going to be a 26.
Whew.
Wow.
Absolutely.
Nice.
So again, this would be the latest sighting that you have heard from all of these goings on. But there definitely have been a few, again, pointing you in the eastern direction as opposed to north. So again,
For sure.
it's a chance that maybe they're still squirreling away somewhere. But more and more, it seemed like they've maybe been active in that direction for a little while now. Who's next?
Kaskrin is going to do something that he's never done before, but always thought he could get away with.
Ooh, okay.
And he is going to try and infiltrate the black market here in Agmar.
Okay.
Because if the Sky Stalker has been around, like, they can't exist in a vacuum. They must be getting supplies from somewhere. And Agmar is one of the nearest and probably biggest locations that would be supplying them. And I imagine it more like he's not going to have time to infiltrate like the upper echelons of the crime syndicates here in Agmar. But I'm wondering if he can get close enough to like the docks and the dock workers and some of the grimier parts where he can lie his way into saying like, hey, I'm here to pick up a shipment for the Sky Stalker and get more information that way.
I like the direction a lot. I think Kaskrin would know he would need an inn
Okay.
of some sort.
Yeah.
Right? Of like, he can't just be like, hi, I'm a normal person.
Yeah.
Care to enjoy some illicit activity together?
Right. Yeah.
Cashgun would do that, though.
Yeah.
Potentially. But he's been a guard long enough. You know, he would know.
And I part of me wants to call in a favor from our favorite PI tree guy.
I was going to say, you have probably a couple of people you could call in a favor
Yeah.
with. Aleph is a great one. Izan.
I was gonna say Azan.
Yeah.
Like,
Okay.
Again, if anyone
yeah.
who's like, would be in
who's
on...
flirting the edges.
Yeah, okay.
Would
Yeah.
know a guy who knows a guy allegedly.
Let's go with
Especially
Azan.
about a sky ship
Yeah.
that has some magical components. to
and
it.
if the black market dealing is dealing in stuff that could potentially be components to
For sure.
whatever.
Right. Yeah. So let's say that Kaskrin has called on Azan to kind of get him an in this case. Set up a conversation.
Okay, so what I'm going to ask for the charisma check is going to be to Izan.
Okay.
It's not like once Izan would have you kind of under his wing, he's savvy enough to kind of navigate you to at least answer some basic questions. But convincing Izan to be involved in this, how are you flavor-wise appealing to Izan? Are you appealing to him as a business person, as a secret bleeding heart who loves whales secretly? Are you lying to Izan? I'm actually interested in buying some sky whale blubber.
Ooh, that's an interesting direction. I think Kaskrin is the person, he and Azan have built a relationship over the past couple of months. And so I don't think Kaskrin's going to try and get anything past him. He's just going to tell him and try to appeal to the whale-loving sensitivities of a fellow Agmarian that he has the opportunity to take down one of the most prolific poachers in the area. And in addition, if this succeeds, the Golden Tree will have access to a skyship, and he can be one of the first ones to take a look.
Okay, I dig that. I think Azan he'd be open to, he's shady, he's a wheeler dealer, but he's not a bad guy.
Yeah.
I just had this image now of him at the bow of the ship while we're flying, his hands out. I'm the king of the world.
He would.
So I'll take any number of charisma checks.
Okay, I have persuasion.
Persuasion, I think, is perfect.
That is a 17.
Ooh.
Oh, wow.
Wonderful.
Oh, man. All the pressure's on now.
It is a little bit. I'm going to say 3 out of 5. We're going to have one last roll kind of right at the end to resolve everything. but you're already tipped into a positive outcome. So you guys, with that information, you are indeed, you're kind of pointed towards the dock. You're pointed to a particular person who has had some dealings. Nothing illegal, but, has contacts, people who know people, that sort of deal, who bring in a variety of goods and are able to get a feel for... Here, I'm going to put it this way, David. You are given some very crucial location information.
Okay.
How the next couple of rolls go will tell you what you found.
Okay.
Steve, no pressure.
All right. So a bit of Steve headcanon when it comes to monks. Monks, as I'm sure most of our listeners know, for their armor class, you add your dexterity bonus. You also add your wisdom modifier into their armor class. And I have always interpreted that as kind of an insight thing. Like the monks, they kind of know just by looking at their opponent that they're the type of person who's going to try to do this. And they can kind of read their opponent, just body language, that kind of thing. And so that's kind of why the wisdom gets added to their armor class to do these things. Keeping that in mind, Selv is going to go to one of the higher points in Agmar. And just based on the landscape, and maybe he pulls out a map of kind of Agmar and the surrounding area and just tries to figure out, okay, if I was going to do something as horrible as hunting a sky whale illegally, and I had to hide out, where would be the best place for me to go? Just try to get into the heads of these sky whalers and figure out possible locations where they might moor their ship.
I'm super into that. Were you thinking insight?
That's kind of what I was leaning towards.
I dig that very deeply.
But yeah, I was leaning towards insight. It's a natural 20.
Hey!
That is
Wow.
a natural 20.
That is a total then of 27.
Dang.
We're so motivated when it comes to
Yeah,
sky
right?
whales.
We will get vengeance for the sky whales.
Just for a moment, Selv contemplates, hunting sky whales. And it's like, no. But if I did, where would I moor the ship?
Okay, so I am pausing because you guys did so well. I hadn't considered.
Our results are off the charts. Can we summon an orbital strike?
I
Actually-
mean, what is dropping a bunch of level 9 adventurers if not summoning an orbital strike?
Honestly, what it could be is if I'm up there, oh, look, there's the ship and it's landing.
Just launch us out of a cannon straight to him.
So, as a result of all of those, cumulatively, the reason that I didn't tell you, David, what you found out exactly is because when you guys come back together, you put all the information that you've kind of decided, and not only do you think you feel pretty confident that they're probably still out east, but you think that they are probably back at a hideout right about now, just tracking their recent behaviors, dropping off their recent bit of cargo, maybe laying low for a bit, etc. And you think you might know where this hideout is. And it is only a couple days east of the city of Agmar.
We ride.
Yeah.
We get a member of the Lasting Legion to accompany us because we babies, and we ride.
Not babies anymore.
Still tiny babies.
So Checkers has also been spending a little bit of time just nerding out about the Sky Stalker with Juniper, and Juniper is like really not in that mood. He's like, I don't like this the way that you do, Checkers. And Checkers is like,
But I have trading cards of all the
yeah,
things
right,
there.
yeah. Checkers has made his own little Sky Whale ship trading.
I know
card
all
game.
the crimes that they've ever done.
Right,
and they're the
exactly.
best.
And then the rest of the Golden Tree shows up, and it's like, hey guys, good to see you. What did you find out?
I'm sorry. I'm just trying to think of what Val would say with the trading cards.
I think it's one of those Val maybe would just be like, not going to address it.
Yeah.
Oh, you have the
Just
foil
gotta
version.
Keep,
Yeah.
Got to keep moving. It's fine. It's whatever.
You guys ready to go yet?
I mean, I think with all of the information we found, we have a fairly close radius where we think they are.
Steve rolled a natural 20, so we have latitude and longitude.
A natural 20, says Juniper.
And there's no guarantee how long they're gonna stay there, so probably sooner is better than later.
Absolutely. Okay. Give me 20 minutes. I can give you, I and a couple of Raven mounts will give you a ride at least part of the way. We don't want to get too close, don't want to spook them or anything. But
Val just puts a hand out to Juniper, and it has a map because, listeners, I need you to know this about Val. She is an intermediate cartographer. She started as a novice at the beginning of this, but I feel like 130 episodes in, she did get a skill boost.
that's
She's
been
an
some of the
intermediate,
level ups.
Yeah.
Yes. Been putting skill points into that.
And so Val hands Juniper kind of a close-up map of the area of like, here's where I think our drop-off point is. Here's where I think they are. And like different points on the map. So like they can take that to the other Raven mounts.
Amazing. Okay. Juniper's fully bouncing. He's like, okay. I will get another Raven mount or two maybe, and then we'll go. I'll drop you guys. Okay. Yes. Okay. Ooh. And he goes runs. He's like dust cloud. Poof, gone.
It's nice to see him in a good mood for a change.
Within the hour, you are all nestled once more in the shadowy bosoms of a Raven mount. It's a little snugger because you're going 2 per Raven mount.
Checkers is definitely riding on the outside. Like, he is not nestled in.
you have a climb speed, so that's allowed.
Cashman still may have had to be scooped for this.
And you guys are like a jet engine. Like the first time you guys were being taken, it was VIP, but you were new and it was a little bit of travel time and that sort of deal. It was a longer thing. Now you get the sense of what it feels like for an aerial sprint, because the wind somehow, even though you are in this extra dimensional space inside of the giant ravens, you could swear you still feel the wind rushing by you. And you travel for several hours like this until eventually you are put down in the middle of the woods. You guys are able to step out of the ravens, and their breasts are heaving. They have exerted so much effort getting you here as quickly as they have, and night has fallen at this point. Juniper also hops down and says, okay, all right, we think you're probably max a couple hours away. Thank you guys for doing this. It means a lot, really.
Next time you see the skyship in the air, take a quick look. See who's on board before, firing.
Yeah, give like a signal or something, to tip a sail or shoot some...
I'm sure Checkers will think of something quite visible.
Great. Perfect. And he and the other Raven mounts climb back into their very weary birds, who kick up dust and ascend and fly away into the distance. I'm going to ask everyone for a final roll as part of this skill challenge. You've already gotten 4 successes. This will just give that little extra flavor, because the 4 successes, they've led you unerringly here. They've led you quickly unerringly here. Now it's just a question of exact timing, how long it takes to find the place and the situation. Kind of a luck roll almost.
Is it just one of us or all of us?
I would like everyone to make a group survival check, please. Looking for a majority success.
15.
Checkers with a natural 20.
Ooh.
28.
Cascarin is not contributing to the success because I rolled a natural 1.
Ooh, okay.
Selv with a 22.
Nice.
Well, heck you guys.
That is 5 out of 5 successes, and once again, a cue that I need to up my DCs.
Val's just really passionate about Skyway.
Yeah, right?
Divine inspiration. You guys walk for a few hours, as you expected, and you're able to put together enough clues here and there from the research you did, from just being, kind of accomplished survivalists, some of you, and just being able to suss out the direction that you're going. Later into the night, you are walking through a pretty lightly forested area, at least as kind of relative to your guys' experience walking through the area near Agmar. And you see it. You see it. The flicker of camplight, which is hidden very well to almost anyone except for the people who are kind of walking in the exact direction that you guys are walking from. But also, most tellingly, you see, attached by several thick ropes and chains, a ship floating above the ground. It is a sleek vessel, beautifully designed, certainly long past its best days. It seems fairly large from here, and it is absolutely covered in a wide variety of sails of all sizes, all shapes, sticking out from it from all different angles. Kind of imagine like a tropical fish, like a lionfish, just huge fins pointing out in every weird direction that aesthetically still works, but is wild. All across its bow, you can even see from here, are, I won't even call them scrapes and scratches, that probably undersells it, hull damage. All around it. There are hunks missing. There is several areas that appear as if they are bits from other ships that have been patchworked on, maybe even replaced, or new construction to it. But it is definitely a patchwork ship to the point where, again, you can see inside of the ship where you can see turning clockwork gears. And now, we have to decide how you all are going to proceed with all of this information. And that's what we're going to do this way. You're able to put together enough clues here and there from the research you did, from just being, kind of accomplished survivalists, some of you, and just being able to suss out the direction that you're going.
I'm just imagining Cass being like, ooh, this is a nice rock. I haven't seen this kind of rock before. And that's all he's doing.
It's a boulder.
Canonically, yes.
I would definitely build my hideout near one of these types of rocks.
If I saw this rock, I would use it as a landmark to remind myself where my hideout was.
This is a nice boulder.
Nice rock.